皆さん、こんにちは。私の名前はケネディ・エスターです。What I just did there was something in Japanese, and it means good afternoon, everyone. My name is Esther Kennedy, and today I want to talk about a social justice issue in Japan. Look at this picture here and tell me what you see. I'm assuming that most of you at least see that there are people in this picture. Just like you and me, people, we all have our differences, whether that is our sexual identity, different hair color, different eye color, or different ethnicities. Not one person is the same, and we should all recognize that. And as a resident of Japan, and also after doing much research on the LGBT community in Japan, I believe that I'm capable to talk about this topic. And with saying that, Japan is experiencing bullying and discrimination in the LGBT community. And the things that I will be talking about today are the child bullying in schools and the discrimination adults face in their daily lives in the LGBT community. And I will also be talking about the steps Japan has taken to protect LGBT students in school and the steps they have taken to lessen discrimination. I will now discuss how children in school have been bullied for being open about their sexual identity. In Japan, the LGBT community is not as recognized as any other places in the world, so in school, many of the LGBT identifying students get bullied. According to an article by Kyle Knight in 2015, his article contains many stories of students that were bullied because of their identity, but one story that I would like to talk about is a kid from high school that was interviewed. In his story, it pretty much talks about how once he became open about his identity, he started getting bullied a lot, and that was physical and verbal. In school, people would write on his homework that he would have to turn in, and even teachers would act hostile toward him. He tried going to the teachers for help, but they kind of pushed him aside and acted like it wasn't important, and it was something to be made fun of. And according to an article by Mizuho Aoki that was published by the Japan Times in 2014, it talks about a survey that was done by students from elementary to high school. There were about 610 participants, and on this slide here, it shows the statistics and the variety of things of how kids were bullied in school. Of those participants, 53% felt like they were verbally abused, 12% were bullied by their teachers, 49% were ignored or excluded from groups, 20% experienced physical abuse, 22% inflicted self-harm, and 32% had thoughts of committing suicide. And as was said earlier, kids were being bullied by teachers as well, and according to the Asia Pacific Human Rights Information Center, many kids felt like they were being mistreated and were unwelcome because of school staff. The main reason why they were was because of the lack of education that teachers had about sexual orientation and identity of LGBT students. So to fix this, according to an article by the Human Rights Watch in 2017, Japan put in an anti-bullying policy that protected these students from this bullying. It also taught teachers about sexual orientation and identity, and also it encouraged the teachers to teach that in their classroom as well. With bullying occurring in schools with the LGBT students, Japan has taken measures to protect them, and not only is that an issue, but discrimination in adulthood is an issue as well. According to an article by Jane Wallace by the University of Leeds, this article talks about the Shibuya Ordinance that was passed in 2015. This is pretty much where they gave out marriage certificates to same-sex couples, but these were not legally binding. Only certain people could get them, and they had to have a notarized document that cost about $500. And as you can see, that's not very fair. So, according to an article by the Japan Times, Ibaraki Prefecture became the first prefecture to recognize same-sex marriage. So they gave out certificates that pretty much granted the same rights as they would for an opposite-sex married couple. Not only do they experience bullying in schools, but discrimination happens in the workplace, health services, family, and other settings as well. And according to the Amnesty International article in 2017, they talk about how a media in Japan called the Asahi Shimbun targeted LGBT people and called them abnormal. This caused people who weren't very open about their identity to kind of like hide from the public because of all the hate that they got. So to help with this, Tokyo passed a bill in 2016 that helped protect these people against discrimination. It stated that citizens must not discriminate based on people's sexual identity. Also, an article by the Kyodo News in 2019, they conducted a survey of about 60,000 people and 8.9% identified as LGBT. And that was an increase of 1.3% from a survey done in 2015. And as you can see in this article, these look like people just like me and you, but these were people that are part of the LGBT community that was in the parade in Tokyo. And in conclusion, the LGBT community faces a lot of hardship in their daily lives, but Japan has taken measures to support that all people are treated equally and fairly. Again, Japan is experiencing bullying and discrimination in the LGBT community, whether that be through bullying in schools or adult discrimination in the workplace, in the family, or health services. Thankfully, Japan has put in policies to protect students at school and to help same-sex couples get the same rights that everyone else gets. So, next time, hopefully when you encounter an LGBT individual, you will remember that all the difficulties and struggles that they go through on a daily basis, and you will give them some